Hello there, everybody. I'm Mr. Game Pie, and welcome to Let's Play Asagao Academy. I'm Mr. Game Pie, and I have a special co-commentator with me today.
Hi.
Yep, it's my girlfriend Renee. And yeah, this is the second dating sim series that I'm doing on my channel. The last one was Namco High, which it was a game where you dated various Namco Bandai characters, along with a couple Homestuck characters. And this time around, we're dating the Normal Boots crew. So yeah, this is gonna be a good time, isn't it, Renee?
Yeah, I've played a couple of the routes in this already, and I absolutely love these kind of games, so this is kind of my jam.
Excellent. I've seen Pro Jared do most of his own route at this point, but otherwise I'm not really sure what else we'll be expecting. Although that said, I have read up on the TV tropes page, so I know a few things from the other routes, but like, not a whole lot.
Yeah, I've played two of the routes. I'm halfway through one, and then I've watched a playthrough of one. So I'm very familiar with this game by this point.
You know,
but it's super fun and super good.
It's a very silly scenario, I'd say, but it's a fun kind of silly, you know? Also, we got this Japanese intro here.
Oh, it's so Japanese.
Oh, man. The stuff in this game is bizarrely Japanese.
I think that's what gives it the charm, though.
Maybe. Anyway, there we had Peanut Butter Gamer. I think that was his voice introducing the game. And let's go ahead and click play. Alright, so we're starting up Chapter 1. Now, Renee, you can see the game fine?
Yeah, I'm all good.
Alright. So yeah. The train made its way along the gentle curve of the coast of Japan, whisking me farther and farther from home. Across from me sat a boy, face half buried in a newspaper. He was deeply entranced in whatever article he was reading and hadn't spoken a single word to me, even when I asked if I could join him in the last compartment with any available space. He shrugged, nodded, and adjusted his newspaper without ever making eye contact. It'd been almost an hour, in fact, and he hadn't once looked at me. Devoid of conversation, I took to counting the buttons on the pretentiously lush carmine seat cushions. 1, 2, 3, 21, 22, and so forth, over and over. Now and again I turned to look out the window where the trees were blurring by. Sometimes the smeared green would break and reveal the quiet blue of the Sea of Japan. Eventually, this rapidity made my stomach churn, and I went back to counting the buttons on the seat cushions. 1, 2, 3. The train compartment shuddered around us. My eyes wandered to the boy and his jacket. It wasn't the school-issued blue that I and the other students on the train were wearing. Instead, it was a green varsity-like jacket with an embroidered patch poorly sewn on the front. So, you're a first year then? He folded his newspaper neatly, set it in his lap, and looked at me with a half-interested glaze. Did he just catch me staring? Now that the newspaper was gone, I saw his face. He watched me through heavy-lidded eyes. His hair was immaculately groomed, his teeth straight and blindingly bright. There was something about him, the way the light hit him, that made him look like he was almost sparkling?
Me?
He glanced around the compartment, empty besides us, and laughed.
Oh, no, I'm not a first year. I'm a third year.
The train began to slow, metal wheels groaning against metal tracks. The sudden shift threatened to rob me of whatever was left in my stomach, but I closed my eyes and took a deep breath, willing myself to keep it together. What kind of impression would I leave, puking on a student before I even arrived at the academy? The boy frowned. I picked at the hem of my cotton skirt. That's not possible. I've never seen you before. It took me a moment of mouth fishing to find a response.
It's because I'm a transfer student?
He laughed again. A transfer student, huh? We don't get many of those. I removed my acceptance letter from the front pocket of my uniform. The paper, heavy weight, off-white, had accumulated creases from my reading and reading, as if the words might have changed since the last time I read it. The boy took it and studied it, then handed it back to me.
I'll see you around.
Well then, Hannah, I suppose I'll be seeing you around. He smiled at me as he picked up the suitcase lying next to him. By the time I hiccuped a response, he was already gone from the compartment. I stared out into the empty hallway of the train. It was then that I realized that he, having gotten it from my acceptance letter, knew my name, and I never got his. The train settled at the station, and I filed out with the rest of the uniformed students. It was early April, and the last frost of winter had come and gone. The trees were already green, their leaves shivering in the occasional gust weaving through them. The air was mild, only a few clouds hanging in the sky. I walked along the road with a swarm of blue-jacketed bodies, looking at the little groups breaking off from the crowd. Everyone was buzzing so animatedly around me. I held my suitcase tight in my sweaty hands. It was a leather-bound and worth more than anything it contained. It wasn't far to the school, and I was, for maybe the first time in my life, thankful that what I owned didn't amount to much. My school issued black Oxfords click-click-clicked on the pavement. I walked this walk over and over in my mind. So many nights I lay awake, imagining what it would be like to walk from the train station to Asagao Academy for the first time. My new start. I always imagined that everything would change for me on this walk, that somehow everything would be magically different. But as I looked around, I realized nothing had changed. I hadn't changed. By the time I reached the massive gate at the academy, I forgot all about the disappointment slouching in the back of my throat. The school, framed by the gate's twisting black metal, was just as beautiful as the glossy photos I saw in its pamphlets. This was it. Asagao Academy. I glanced around. The swarm of students gathered around the gate. Beyond it, tiny blue people bounced around the academy's main building. A girl pressed a button to one side of the gate. The excitement in the air was almost palpable. A few moments later, the black gate, with great effort, creaked outwards and cleared the pathway. As the rest of the group shifted into motion, I followed along, a sheep in the herd. My stomach tied itself into knots. The crowd split off in different directions. For a moment, I panicked. A tired-looking man with graying hair called out for first years, a cluster of fresh-faced students gathering around him. Hey, look at that girl! I turned a few feet away. A small group of boys were pointing at me and snickering. Pink hair? Are you kidding me? How desperate can you get? Hot shame crawled down my neck. I attached myself to a group of girls, following a few steps behind them. In the distance, cicadas hummed in time to my shoes, crunching against the gravel. My hair. It wasn't my fault my hair looked like this. Luckily, I found myself at the girls' dormitory, a large sign in the lawn reading Primrose House. The building dwarfed me in size and sheer intimidation. How many students did Asagao have? As I approached the building, a red-headed girl lingering nearby caught my attention. Alright, everybody, get ready to meet the best character in the game!
Best character.
I looked away, then looked back. She was staring at me.
Forget all these boys. I want to date her.
She walked over.
Oh, you must be my roommate!
I mean, she says the line, so I guess you don't have to this time.
Yep.
I eyed her warily. She was smiling and bouncing in a way that suggested her views on life were akin to a perpetual bouncy castle.
What?
Me?
Bingo.
Of course, you silly. Let me guess. Room 325?
I thought back to the paper I received a month prior with a list of all the supplies I needed for the year, and my dorm arrangements.
Yeah, that's right.
She laughed, but I couldn't figure out what was so funny. Was she laughing at me?
When I found out my roommate was a transfer student, I knew you were going to be a total main character. I'm sorry. What?
Mm-hmm.
When I saw you outside the gate, I knew it was you. I mean, look at that hair.
I felt a lump forming in my throat. What was she talking about? Thing is that this girl, she tends to have some fourth wall awareness. And I think y'all know how I love fourth wall breaking.
Some?
Yes. She had to be making fun of me. I hadn't spent more than 5 minutes on campus and I was already being mocked. My hands began to tremble.
Is there something wrong with my hair?
Her face slackened from its amused smile to a more worried expression. Then she began to laugh again.
Oh, no. It's great. I'm sorry.
Another one of those lines that they actually have her say.
We're getting off on the wrong foot, aren't we? Oh, gosh.
The voice
I'm
acting...
Sasaki.
Oh,
You must be Hana.
the voice acting that is in this game is pretty good, that said. I bowed my head.
Hello.
It's nice to meet you, Mai. All your school books are waiting in our room with your welcome letter, and I read the envelope. I hope you're not mad.
Mai started walking toward the dorm's front doors. I followed behind like a lost puppy.
Did you check in at the front desk already? No, I didn't. I didn't know I was supposed to. Good. They'll offer to have a staff member give you a tour of the campus, but I can show you around. We don't get many transfer students in year 3, you know. Oh, is that your only bag? Just the one? I'm glad I brought an extra bag of stuff to decorate our room with. I started already. Hope you don't mind. But I did wait to string the lights. I thought we could do it together, you know?
She spoke quickly, the words bubbling from her mouth, and left me no time to answer until the end of her monologue.
Yeah, okay. That sounds good.
She held the front door open for me and I hurried inside. Girls filed up and down the hallway, howling greetings and exchanging vague niceties that were, more often than not, "How was your break?" and "Look at how tan you got!" It seemed like everyone knew each other. I followed Mai as she led me through a maze of students and up 2 flights of stairs. Each dorm floor looked the same as the last. Narrow, white doors lining both sides of the pale pink walls. Thin, gold numbers were tacked onto the front of each, the numbers rising as we climbed.
You're not missing anything with the campus tour, I promise. Mr. Saitomo does them every year, and he's, like, totally dull. He just drags you around the entire campus and talks in that weird squeaky voice of his. I'll tell you everything you need to know.
I smiled, trying to let this calm my nerves.
Thanks.
We headed down a hallway on the 3rd floor. Mai stopped us in front of a door numbered 325.
Here we are!
A faint smell of potpourri wafted through the room. The walls, like the hallway, were a soft, powdery pink. Wait, what is potpourri? Do you know what potpourri is?
Potpourri?
Yeah, I guess.
It's like flower petals and fruit and stuff. It's smelly stuff.
Gotcha.
It's like perfume for a room, pretty much.
Right. Mai already defaced them with a tapestry of posters, magazine cutouts, and photographs. Some of the photos were of cats. Gotta circle where the cats are. But most were of male models and rugged musicians.
There's one above the bed there.
Yep. A bunk bed, 2 writing desks with wooden chairs, a small dresser, and a mirrored vanity, all clearly provided by the school, were the only pieces of furniture in the tiny room. The top bunk was already covered in neatly tucked blankets and throw pillows of clashing patterns and colors. The bottom bunk had a single, stiff-looking pillow and a thin cotton blanket that I didn't need to touch to know was horribly itchy. I must have grimaced because Mai quickly smiled at me.
I brought way too many pillows and blankets. I always overpack. I went to Italy over break and Mom got really mad at me because I brought 5 bags, but we were only there for a week.
She laughed, pulled several blankets and pillows from her bunk, and rearranged them neatly on mine. A sudden twinge of guilt and embarrassment hit me.
Perfection.
There, that's much better. Thanks, Mai.
I placed my suitcase on the bottom bunk and began to unpack its contents. Several changes of clothing, pens and pencils, empty notebooks, a few photographs of my father, a dilapidated stuffed rabbit, an old portable radio, and a small black box. Mai opened the curtains and the sunlight poured in.
So, where are you from?
I slid the now empty suitcase under the bottom bunk.
About 2 hours north of here. It's a small town called Amaririsu. Sorry, I can never.
Amiririsu?
Yeah, Amaririsu? Sure.
Yeah, so we'll go with that.
You probably haven't heard of it.
I set the stuffed rabbit, Mr. Bunny, on my bed beside a purple and teal throw pillow. You know, I had a Mr. Bunny whenever I was a kid.
I think I had something like that too.
Yeah, but it was actually my grandma's, I think, but, you know, it was a stuffed animal, so I was always playing with it whenever I was younger.
Yeah. Oh, did you go to a different boarding school, or...? No, I went to a public school down the street from my house.
Really?
Public school? What was that like? Were the students mean? Did you have a lot of friends? I always went to private schools. My parents work a lot, and my dad goes overseas, so I think they stuck me here for convenience. Oh hey, what's that?
I'd removed an ornately patterned origami crane from the black box and was setting it on the unclaimed writing desk.
Oh, this? My mother made it for me, a long time ago.
I set it beside a stack of thick textbooks, which I assumed were provided for me.
Aww.
Wow, it's so pretty! I've never seen paper like that before. Oh yeah, the lights! Let me get them.
Mai went to her own desk, opened the drawer, and pulled out a long tangled string of fairy lights.
I thought these would look nice. Here, help me string them up.
She grabbed a container of push pins, then pulled her wooden desk chair out and over to one wall. I did the same with my own. Together, we pinned the lights around the perimeter of the room.
How was the train ride over? Did you meet anyone? No, not really. I was in a compartment with some guy and...
What?
Some guy, huh? Was he cute? I love Mai.
Yeah, she's
Mai
great.
is the best.
Yep.
She's the best. She's the most supportive friend.
She is already.
She deserves.
And it all
good
goes, and
things.
it's all up here. It's all uphill from here, everybody.
She deserves good things. She really does.
She
She
does.
doesn't deserve anything except good things.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, I guess. I don't know. I wasn't really paying attention. I didn't even get his name.
You weren't paying attention to the gorgeous Jared?
I mean, she doesn't know.
This is true.
Yeah.
Mai seemed disappointed for a moment, then perked back up.
You'll have to point him out to me if you see him again. Okay.
Once we finished stringing the lights, Mai climbed down from her chair and brushed her hands together triumphantly.
Yeah!
Done! Okay, now it's time for lunch. The food here is pretty good. There's this ramen place down the street from the campus that's like out of this world, but the school only lets us leave campus on weekends.
Mai walked to the window.
We could go today because it's Sunday and it's pretty nice out, but I guess you probably want to go to the caf since you just got here. We could...
She was suddenly interrupted by her own enthusiastic laughter.
Oh my gosh, Mimi Santos totally just tripped outside and fell on her face. I saw it. Oh, is that mean to laugh? Maybe I shouldn't have.
I mean, probably not, but whenever you
Probably
have
not.
context...
Yeah.
we'll
Oh,
be
well.
getting that context.
Anyway, let's go eat. I'm totally starved.
She led me out of the room before I even had a chance to respond.